Can I know your views? What are your views on mental health, and what are some of the initiatives that you're working on at Experian to help Experian employees feel seen and heard just throughout all of these changes that are happening in the world?
Yeah, I think mental health is such an important topic. Based on some experiences I had in my personal life, it's something that I'd been on a journey in better understanding with family members even before the pandemic started. During the pandemic, I trained as a mental health first aider, some intense training and we're expanding the network of mental health first aiders in Experian. But I think we have such an opportunity coming out of the pandemic to enhance the conversation around mental health. Everybody has struggled at some point during this pandemic, and I think that's given just a broader insight into how mental health can really affect you as an individual when you have the combined stresses that we've seen of family and professional life during this period. And the thing that holds us back from really understanding mental health is the stigma around the conversation. Being able to have an open conversation, I think, is critical. And I sponsor the awareness of and action planning around mental health in Experian. And we've been doing some amazing things in all of our regions for our employees. But it all starts really from awareness and feeling comfortable to have the conversation.
Yeah, I want to follow up on that because Lloyd, I think sometimes it's hard for those maybe who have never struggled with mental health issue, maybe they've never dealt with depression or anxiety or panic disorder, and sometimes if they haven't experienced it, it's hard for them to relate or understand what it means. Do you have advice for those people who maybe don't really understand like what's the big deal with mental health and can't just people take a few days off and get back to work?
Yeah, I think I think you've hit on a really good point. If somebody had a physical illness or they maybe broken a leg or something, and they came to a meeting and they had a bad meeting because of that physical illness, there's a lot of allowance naturally that people take. If somebody has a mental illness, there's a sense that it shouldn't have the same level of understanding, and of course it should. It's exactly the same as a physical illness, and I think the key starts really with getting educated and understanding. I think companies have a big part to play in educating their leaders, particularly and their managers, in understanding what mental health can do, allowing the conversation, and then putting the right support framework inside the company that help people get help. You know, the the end point of challenges in mental health is tragedy, and the more people feel able to talk earlier in those processes, the more lives are saved. So something I feel really passionately about. We're in the process of training hundreds of mental health first aiders inside Experian, and I think that they'll be our ambassadors for getting the education into all of those senior leadership populations across the company.